This is All India Radio. Learning personal finances and important money skills at an early age provides with lots of opportunities to apply them in real life. Kiran Misra speaks to Shankar Nath, who is facilitating this learning skill in New Digital India. Shankar, some years back, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi called out to the youth, Stand Up India, Start Up India. Looks
Right.
like you have responded to that call and you have created a startup which is for teaching people financial management. Can you tell us more about it?
What we have observed is that while the school curriculum and even college curriculum deals a lot in science, physics, history, geography, everything, there is a little gap as far as financial education and knowledge about money is concerned, or how to handle money. Basically, because you'll see many kids who are completely clueless in terms of what is savings, what is interest, what is compounding, how easy or difficult is it to earn $1,000, and so on and so forth. One is that many children in the slightly more privileged section, middle class, upper middle class, also get money a little too easily perhaps from their parents and do not really appreciate how tough it might be to earn it, or do not have a physical sense of the value of money. That's what we have observed overall, and even in market research that we have done. So one thing which we wanted to do through this startup is, which we call Junio, is to imbibe a sense of financial and money understanding of money amongst children. Just to give you an example, let's say today in a lockdown situation, kids are mostly at home, and parents are also at home, and everyone is doing everything themselves, right? For whatever reasons, there is very little of external help that people are taking. So obviously, people who are at home and have their jobs also to continue are a little overburdened with work at home also. So if you have two kids, let's say, and they are 10 years old and 12 years old, so is there any way we can incentivize them to do some work at home, which will also help them become more independent later on, and also incentivize that by saying that, hey, if you make the bed every day, if you do the dishes every day, I'm just giving an example, you get $20 a day. So at the end of the month, the child gets, let's say, 600 rupees for a desirable behavior which the parent wanted to promote. There are two things to this. One is that the child basically then learns about how easy or difficult it is to earn money, and thus values it a little more, right? Because otherwise you would see that he may just want to buy a packet of chocolate which is worth $100, but if he has earned the $600 himself, if it's his own money in that sense, with a greater sense of ownership, he or she will also be a bit more careful in terms of how to spend. So these are things that we have tried to put in the app. These are all very small steps, but I think it can go a long way in teaching kids about the value of money.
But is this app something that the children are supposed to use, or is it something that the parents will use and learn how to
You,
teach the children?
it is for both the parents and the children use it. Okay, so how it works is the parent signs up, adds the child, and gets a virtual card immediately and tops up that card with, let's say, 500 rupees of pocket money for the child. Then the child logs in with his number and sees the card and sees that it has $500 in it. Now, there are two things then which happen. One is that the child can use this virtual card for all online purchases. Let's say he wants to buy something in Swiggy, Zomato, or wants to buy a mobile recharge. So he or she can spend using that virtual card. Also, the parent can order a physical card, which looks just like a credit card or debit card that you have. All right. And that is in the child's name. And that is her own card to flaunt in front of friends, let's say, hypothetically. Then what happens is, in the app, there are sections where we have called tasks. Task is what the parent says, and then we have, let's say, 30 different tasks set and the amount per task, let's say, and the parent can change that. Parent sets that, the child gets a notification, accepts, and then at the end of the month, if it is done, the money automatically gets loaded from the parent's account into the child's card account. So that's how it works.
Has this app been very popular with the parents and the children?
It is early days yet, Kiran. We launched only last month, about 40 days back. I think we have already crossed about 60,000 downloads. I think we are the fastest kids financial product to cross that milestone. It is on Android phones at the moment. We are releasing the iOS version, the Apple version, just in a week's time. And then, of course, we will see even greater traction. And we are building more and more features into it regularly so that parents and children can use it more frequently. And I can give you an example in that. One feature which we are building is to save up for a big ticket item. Just as an example, let's say a child wants to buy a cycle. That's for 6,000 rupees. ठीक है ना? Now, one option is the parent buys the child a cycle, he rides it, the child rides it for 3 months, gets bored, dumps it, and it's never used again. And I see that happening a lot. The other is where the child says, hey, your pocket money is $1,000 a month. You have to get the cycle from within this only. So there's a save section there where the child from the pocket money, 500 rupees, he can allocate towards the cycle. ठीक है ना? So what happens is if he's saving 500 from 1,000 every month, he will need a year to reach the goal. But then parent may then say, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little easier for you. I will pay a parental interest or whatever you call it of 20%. Or I will top up whatever you save. I will also top up the exact same amount so that instead of 12 months, you can reach that goal in 6 months. I'm just saying hypothetically. So what these things actually very subtly do is teach kids a little bit about what is the concept of savings, interest, compounding, and how hard it is to actually get some money, because otherwise it's a little too easy. And then what happens is the first salary, you will find many kids today are there, if the salary is 30,000, they're spending the entire 30,000 to buy an iPhone and taking 10,000 rupees of loan also.
Oh my
No?
God.
Yeah, there are lots of kids who do that. I have seen it. There are people, and there are some bright engineers, let's say, who have joined us, very young 22, 23-year-olds who have joined us, right? And they've joined at a package of about 6 lakhs, let us say, which is 50,000 per month. Uske haath mein 40,000 aate. That entire 40,000 plus a little borrowing from someone goes towards a fancy phone that he wants. Seriously, after 1-2 years of working, the guy is still in debt. And frankly, his first take-home salary actually might have been the salary which his father was drawing at retirement in a government job. So we see a lot of these. Basically, so it's a very consumerist culture also, no, a little bit. So thoda sa getting some sense of fiscal prudence, if it's taught in kids at a young age, I think can really help children later on.
At the end, I'd like to ask you just one thing.
Yeah.
Our Prime Minister has envisaged a digital India, and this
Right.
is yet another step in the
Absolutely.
direction of digital India. Do you think that people in general, and especially the young generation, they are responding better to learning through digitization?
Oh, without a doubt, completely. And what is happening today is that you will see in most households, and this is how I think the Indian social context is different from the US, let's say, is that you will find that the kids are far, far more digitally native and adept than the adults. So all the digital transactions are actually being done by the children. They borrow the parents' card at times, the OTP comes, and then it's the same, but they don't have any instrument of their own, which is what we are trying to change in a small way. But the fact is that this young generation and kids who are 10 plus today almost, right, 8 to 10 plus, they don't know any other world. No, this is what it is for them. If suddenly, if you tell a 12-year-old today that I used to stand in a queue to pay the electricity bill at an office which would shut at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday, they would say, what is this world you're talking about? Because they don't know. They only know that they can pay it in Paytm in 30 seconds, right? And frankly, what will happen as we go forward, I think a child is not digitally included. That will be the single biggest divide. With data becoming cheaper, smartphones becoming cheaper, it has democratized clearly. I mean, today there must be at least 15 crore Indians who are making digital payments. Forget how many are online. That must be 70 crores or 65 crores, right? So if you're not in this digital stream, you will be completely left out. And kids today are on it, thanks to Jio has done in terms of bringing data prices down and everybody else following. I think it's crucial that, this digital divide is completely bridged and everything moves digital. And you have seen how it's working even in this lockdown, right? For jobs, doesn't require physical work, which is, at an engineering shop floor, obviously you will need people. But I'm saying any other job which doesn't need physical labor can easily be done online. Companies' productivity has increased after work from home. I talk to all my colleagues and ex-colleagues. They're working faster, they're working more, and they're loving it because they can work from wherever they are, right? And they can spend more time with family. It's also that, of course, the work hours have increased and, the calls go on till late at night and all of that, but that's all right. But what I'm saying is this digital India is here to stay. Anyone who gets excluded from this is going to face issues later on. And the kids are on it already. I mean, they look at the older generation as some prehistoric people if they are not savvy digitally.
Well, let's hope we move towards a faster digital India and on the track of
Sure.
development. We at All India Radio wish you all success. You were listening to Kiran Misra in conversation with Shankar Nath. This broadcast came to you from All India Radio.